Is Kayo the best budget deck? Hello and welcome to the table, and today I'm going to be doing a budget deck tech video with upgrades for Kayo Armed and Dangerous. I absolutely love this guy, I love this deck, and I actually think it is really good and relatively cheap. I want to build decks. My goal for Flesh and Blood, and for all the deck techs I've done for Flesh and Blood, and now Star Wars to a point, is to build really powerful decks that are somewhat inexpensive. I don't want to build budget decks that are like 20 bucks, but they suck. They don't play very well. I want to build decks that are actually competitively viable, that aren't going to absolutely break the bank. So, for example, this deck costs $170 if you were to just buy everything that this deck currently has right now in it. But, I personally believe that if you were to buy something like the Kayo Armory deck, which depending on where you live, could be very inexpensive, and then if you get that, in addition to buying all the singles that you don't already have, I spent, when these cards were even more expensive than they are now, I spent 140 bucks, which is 30 bucks less than 170. So I honestly believe if you were to buy this deck from scratch, you don't own a single copy of any card in this deck, you could buy it. You could get this deck for like 130 bucks, which is insane to me. But let's get into things. Starting off with Kayo himself. This guy, what the deck is wanting to do is, sure, you have only one weapon, only one one-handed weapon, but all of your attacks get +1 power while they're in any zone other than the combat chain. So you can discard a 5 attack, it's actually 6, which is insane for brutes because they care about discarding things with 6 or more power. And then the first time you discard something with 6 or more power during each of your action phases, you create a might token, which at the start of the turn destroys itself and gives your next thing +1 power. Your next attack +1 power, which is great because it allows you to push more damage. So this deck, basically what it's wanting to do is just play a bunch of big fat beaters. That's all. That's pretty much the whole idea of the deck. Just play a bunch of big fat beaters. Looking at the deck, I mean, ton of 2-drops, ton of 2-cost things, couple of 3-cost things, so there's a ton of blues in the deck, a lot of blues that do a lot of things, agile wind-up, mighty wind-up, they can both discard themselves to get some value, and when you discard them, something like a mighty wind-up for sure, you get a token off of Kayo, which is awesome, and yeah, you can discard mighty wind-up to create a might token, and Kayo creates you another might token. Agile Windup, you discard it, it's a 6, and it creates an agility token in addition to the might token from Kayo. And then Pack Call is just a good defender, and it can allow you to kind of get a little bit of a peek as to what's going to go on in future turns and kind of give you an idea of how to set up and plan for things. And plus, it's just a good blocker. It blocks for 3, which is semi-uncommon on most brute cards. Riled Up, another 3 block, which is great, especially for blues. It can be a good 6 attack. It can just be a good thing on like the second or third cycle of the game. It's just good. It's a good card. Run Roughshod is just solid. It's a 1 for 5. That's nothing to scoff at. Plus it blocks for 3. Smash Instinct is just a really good card. I mean, it blocks for 3. That's something that you're always going to enjoy. You discard it and it's going to act as a 6. Wrecker Romp, same deal. Blocks for 3. And it's going to discard and it's going to be a 6, more than a 6 technically. Pitches for 3. So all the blues have they pitch for 3, obviously, which is great. They usually block for 3, and if they don't, they give you some sort of utility use, which is very useful to you. But then all the yellows and the reds, it's just basically going to be the main things that you're wanting to play around. Your big beaters like Bear Fangs, your ways to get go again like Pulping, your ways to disrupt the opponent like Strength Rules All, Send Packing, stuff like that. And then just your big, just gigantic payoffs, basically. Something like a Blood Rush Bellow. This is the MVP of the deck. If you've never played Brutes before, this is the MVP of the deck. 1 cost, discard a card from your hand, random card from your hand, your brute attack at +2 power this turn, and if you discard something with 6 or more power, you draw 2 cards, and this card gets go again. So, sure, you gotta discard something with 6 or more power, but besides Blood Rush Bellows, there's not a single other card in the deck that you can discard, thanks to Kayo's ability, where it won't turn on Blood Rush Bellows, go again, and draw 2 cards ability. So, this card, play it, your stuff gets bigger, and you get some fuel. It's just going to be amazing for you. So this deck, just rush the opponent down as quick as possible. It's got some disruption. It's got some big fat beaters. It's got ways to go wide. It's just got a little bit of everything that an aggressive deck wants. And the equipment, while it's a budget equipment suite, it's not that bad of an equipment suite either. It can block for some. Barkbone Strapping has Battle Worn 1. Beating Trackers have Battle Worn 1. Hide Tanner has Battle Worn 1, and a Knucklehead has Temper for 2. So this can block for 2 and 1 more if you don't want to use its ability, which realistically you pretty much never want to use its ability. But still, the equipment blocks for a good amount, and you can get some good utility use out of it. Barkbone Strapping, you can get some resources off of it, potentially a lot of resources off of it. Beaten Trackers can get you an action point, effectively acting as Go Again. That also gets around Spectra, which can matter against certain decks. Maybe you're playing against Prism, but whatever. Beating Trackers is good, is what I'm trying to say here. Then Hide Tanner can get you some more Might tokens. That's nothing to ever scoff at. More damage is more damage, right? And then Knucklehead again. It could be useful every now and then, but usually you're just gonna be getting 3 life off of this, which is nothing to scoff at either. And the weapon Mandible Claw is just ways for you to go wider when you need to. Plus, it's just an absolutely absurd card, to be real with you. Not with Beast Within, but Beast Within is a good card. But with Blood Rush Bellow, this card is absurd with Mandible Claw. But yeah, the deck is just really solid. It's got some good equipment, and it's just got some absurd things going on. It's got everything that you want. But there's clearly going to be ways that you can upgrade it. There's going to be ways for you to make the deck better, more powerful, disrupt better, go wide better, or come taller better, whatever, right? So, getting past, and in the sideboard, I should probably go over the sideboard first. I got some more ways to defend and kind of defend against decks that this deck isn't very good against. Like, No Fear is really good against, what's the name of the deck? I can't remember the name of. But, any arcane damage dealing decks, like Aurora, like Florian, this card is great against, because, I mean, you can't really deal with arcane damage super well in this deck. I mean, there are a couple of cards that deal with arcane damage, the arcane barrier equipment that I got. But No Fear is just another way against something like Wizards that just deal a ton at once. Then No Fear, boom, can help you there. Savage Beatdown is just another way to beat down the opponents if you need to. It's not an amazing card, but it's not a bad card either, by any means. And then Sink Below is just an awesome card. Reckless Swing, these are some good defensive cards in addition to Clash of Might that are just good. But there are ways to make the deck better, obviously. The sideboard can be better. It can disrupt the opponent better. It can do things that just help you more. And in the main deck itself, there's tons of stuff that can be improved upon. The equipment suite can definitely be improved upon. So I got these maybes here, these 16 maybes. And if you go the route that I did and you buy the Kayo Armory deck and then go from there, you will get the Savage Sash and not have to spend the $30. So that is one positive there. You can get a really strong chess piece without having to, you know, spend the like $30 to get the card. You can just spend, depending on where you are, I spend $50 on the Armory deck itself, and it's like, oh, I got Savage Sash and then all these other cards that add up to way more than $50, so that's good. But then there's a ton of other good equipment cards in addition that can make the deck way better and take a lot more damage. Stuff like Apex Bonebreaker is a great card, Scabskin Leathers is a great card, Scowling Fleshback is a great card. All of these equipment block for so much damage, it's not even funny. It can turn Kayo into an absolute fridge and effectively gain him an extra almost 20 life, which is insane. You get 3 off of the Apex Bonebreaker, 3 off of the Savage Sash, potentially, and 3 off the Scabskin Leathers, that's 9, potentially, and Scowling Fleshback, so 11. Sorry, 11. You get 11 life, effectively. Usually going to be 10, but 10 to 11 extra life off of your equipment is a lot. That is a fridge of an equipment suite. So if you want to upgrade the Kayo Armory deck, that alone will do just wonders for the deck. But for sideboard means, Warmonger's Diplomacy, especially with Runeblades being so big right now, and Rangers to a point with Azalea, and now Riptide getting a lot better, those decks care a lot about, let's play a non-attack action, and an attack action, and then another non-attack, and then an attack, and flopping back and forth between attacks and non-attacks. And Warmonger's Diplomacy is really, really good for you in that sense. Because, I mean, the card's just cracked. And you can, like, take out 3 Clash Mites, for example, and then put in the 3 Warmonger's Diplomacies if you want to do that and go that route. Weakest Link is another card that's just absolutely insane against the Part the Mistveil decks. I mean, they're some of the better decks in the entire game right now. Zen not as much so anymore, thank God. But Enigma is an absolutely insane deck, even with the bans for, what's the name of the card? Count Your Blessings. And then New is really solid, in my opinion. She's doing some good competitive work, and she's just a good deck and powerful deck in general. And Weakest Link is good against both of those decks, or anything Illusionist that cares about colors, because all Illusionists care about colors. And, yeah, Weakest Link is a good card. You can take out a copy of Reckless Swain, both the copies of Savage Beatdown, or you can take off both the copies of Savage Beatdown and a copy of No Fear if you want to. You can go that route too. Doesn't really matter. And in the last 2 cards, Swing Big, just a big fat beater. This is one of the better attacks in the entire game. I mean, it's just kind of absurd. 2 cost 8 attack. I mean, that's cracked. That's just kind of cracked. And then Command and Conquer. I mean, what do I need to say about this card that hasn't already been said before? This is the best disruption. This is the best card in the entire game, you know? So yeah, 3 copies of Command and Conquer, 3 copies of Swing Big. If you want to put those in the deck as well, even though those 2 cards alone are some of the more expensive cards out of all the maybes, period. And there's 3 copies of each of them, so there's that. But if you want to put those in, I would take out like 3 copies of something like a Strength Resolve for the Command and Conquer, and 3 copies of, where's it at? Smash Instinct for, what's the name of the card? For a Swing Big. And just give you a couple more 2s and not have to spend as many of your resources, so you can go a little bit wider, pitch 2 blues, and then come in with 2 costs, and then Mandible Claw, and an Arsenal, if you have a 5-card hand, basically, with the Arsenal. But yeah, this deck is nuts. With the maybes, it's insane, but if you want to go the budget route, this deck is not that bad either. While there's a lot to be desired that the maybes help you out with, it still does work. It still does a lot of work, and it can deal so much damage, it is not even funny. There's a reason that people thought that Kayo was going to be the next Starvo for a while, because he's just going to LL by freaking Part the Mistveil, but he didn't, and he's still around, and he's going to be around for a lot longer, in my opinion. But yeah, Kayo's a good deck. I mean, people are afraid of him. I'm afraid of him, and this is why. And you don't have to have all of the best cards in order to make him this super terrifying villain deck. This deck, the budget side of it by itself, can just do some absolutely insane work. I mean, there's a reason Blood Rush Bells is so scary, and this is a budget-friendly card. And then I would say Scent Packing is generally a pretty budget-friendly card. Strength Resolve is definitely a budget-friendly card, and this card just does some really good work against the opponent's arsenal sometimes. And it's just, yeah. The point of what I'm trying to say here is whether you want to go budget with this deck, or you want to make this deck super powerful and expensive and the best deck possible, this deck is perfect for you. So, anyways, with all that aside, hope that you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, you won't regret it. And have a great rest of your day, everybody.